Hey everyone, so I know I said a few weeks ago when I did the video on undergraduate student mothers and Title IX, I said that I was going to come back soon and talk about graduate student mothers and Title IX, and I hadn't gotten that done. So that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. And I'm going to talk about this in kind of using a specific example, just because it came up this morning and I was pretty disturbed by what I saw. And so I think that it's really important to address that issue today, and address this in a specific context. So federal Title IX law protects pregnant and postpartum students, undergraduate students and graduate students. It protects them from their coursework. They cannot be made to go to class as long as they have clearance from their doctor. So if they're on bed rest, or if they've just had the baby and their doctor says, hey, 6 weeks maternity leave, whatever, legally at the university, we have to give that to them, period. Like, it's not an option to not allow them that time that their doctor has said that they need. As long as they have a doctor's note, we have to give them that time off. Period. Like, flat out, there's nothing else we can do other than give them that time. Unfortunately, a lot of professors and university administrators and students don't seem to be aware of this. So what happens is students don't know, and then they go and they talk to their professors and they say, hey, I'm pregnant and I'm going to be having a baby, and I'm going to, miss some class right around the time of the baby, but I'll try to be back as soon as I can, right? And then the professor is like, well, of course I want you back in class as soon as you can be there, right? And they don't always, I think in a lot of cases, they just don't know that as long as the student is excused by their doctor, they don't have to come right back. So the specific instance that I saw this morning, I'm part of several different groups for graduate student mothers, for mothers in academia, like seriously, probably like 6 or 7. So the actual group itself doesn't matter. But a woman had posted and said she was a graduate student. She's had her baby. She had gone to her professors at the beginning of the semester and said, that she felt like she was probably going to have her baby before the semester was out. She was not planning on coming back after she had the baby, but that she wanted to work ahead and complete as much of her coursework as she could before the baby got there. So at that time, all of her professors seemed to be on board with that. They all said that was fine. And she worked hard to complete the work ahead of time as much as she could, so that she wasn't missing stuff when she had the baby. So now she's had the baby, and she's tried to discuss this with one of her professors in particular, and this one professor has now said, oh, no, that's not okay. You need to be in class. And there was a bit of an argument, I think, and finally they agreed that, the student would attend class through a Skype call, which in some ways I can see is like a nice compromise, right? She gets to be part of the class, she gets to hear the lectures, she gets to participate, that sort of thing. On the other hand, legally, she doesn't have to do that. We cannot make students attend class in any way, shape, or form if they have a doctor's note. And this person just had a baby, so she should have medical documentation saying that she does not have to be there. And so, what she was asking for was advice. This was, again, a group of academic women. And she was asking, am I being unreasonable and thinking that I shouldn't have to attend class? Like, the professor agreed to it ahead of time. I tried to do everything I could ahead of time. And the professor said that I could miss. And now, he said, oh, no, I need you there. And she said, finally, he's agreed to let her do the Skype calls. But, she was very concerned about whether or not she was in the wrong. And was kind of asking, if this professor was being unfair. So I immediately commented and said, hey, this is my area. This is what I'm an expert in. You can't, you don't have to go to class. You don't even have to do a Skype call. That's a violation of Title IX, which is federal law. Like, they cannot make you go to class. They cannot make you do any of that stuff, period. Legally, we cannot require students to do that, okay? But I noticed, lots of other people are commenting, and I'm getting notifications that all these other comments are coming in. And so I've read a few of the other comments, and overwhelmingly, most of them are saying, yeah, no, that's a Title IX violation. They can't make you do that. Okay, so there's a lot of people who do know. But I have been completely shocked and frustrated beyond belief at the number of comments from women who I know are professors who are commenting and saying, well, did you get it in writing that he said that you didn't have to go to class? Because you really need it in writing to be able to prove that he said you didn't have to be there. If not, then it's a he said, she said thing. Yeah, let me just say right now, no, it's not. That's not the case. She doesn't need it in writing that he said that she doesn't have to go to class. Period. She doesn't need it in writing. She doesn't need it in writing because federal law says as long as she has a doctor's note, she doesn't have to be there. All she has to do is turn in her doctor notification, and he cannot make her be there. We cannot make students be in class who just gave birth just because we want them there. We can't, period. They are excused from that. They don't have to be there. So I don't know. I guess I should be happy that because a lot of people don't understand how this works, that's how I still have this platform, right? For this to be my thing. And for me to be able to advocate for this. But truthfully, it's really frustrating to see people that I know are professors, people that I know are, dealing with students on a regular basis, who probably have dealt with pregnant students and pregnant graduate students before, and who are not giving them the accommodations that they need. That is really, really frustrating. It's frustrating for me as someone who went through 2 pregnancies in graduate school. It's frustrating for me as someone who has been a professor to a lot of pregnant students, and who would tell me, my other professors are being really difficult about me taking time off after I have the baby or whatever. And that's really frustrating. So I want to do another video later and talk about graduate students and Title IX in terms of what happens if they're employed by the university, because I think that's an important conversation too. But this issue kind of took some precedence today over that, and now I'm already at like 8.5 minutes, and I'm sure y'all are bored. But I just want to reiterate, like, she does not need written documentation that her professor said she didn't have to come to class, period. She doesn't need it. Again, this is federal law. Federal Title IX law says if you have just had a baby, or if you're pregnant and you're on bed rest or whatever, if your doctor says you don't need to be in class, then you don't have to be in class, period. And there's nothing that we can do about it. We have to accommodate you. So if you are a professor or a university